From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Senate passes Electoral Amendment Act bill rejecting electronic transmission of election results. INEC finalizes election timetable, signals nationwide voter revalidation ahead of the 2027 polls. Vice President Kashim Shettima says the Southeast is a central pillar of Nigeria's economic future as he unveils a 25-year economic development blueprint for the region. And U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is to withdraw 700 immigration agents from Minnesota following the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens and subsequent protests. On business, Smeden partners with MTN Nigeria's Momo payment service bank to enhance financial access for small businesses.
On sports news tonight, Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman awaits a new challenge after his unveiling at Atletico Madrid.
Flush out bandits in Kaima, Kwara State, and the National Park in Niger State, following the killing of 75 people in Kaima.
Nigeria's electoral umpire, INEC, has raised concerns about the delay in the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill at the National Assembly. The INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amokbiton, stated this at 2 separate meetings with members of civil society organizations and media representatives in Abuja. He stated that the delay is responsible for the non-release of the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general elections.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission is holding this meeting with members of the civil society organizations to brief them on preparations for the FCT area council elections, Ekiti governorship election, and other by-elections that are taking place this year.
Ahead of the 2027.
The INEC chairman clarifies issues concerning the 2027 election timetable and the plan to clean the voter register.
The Commission will soon embark on a nationwide voters revalidation exercise ahead of the 2027 general election. We seek your support in urging the National Assembly to expedite action on the ongoing amendment of the Electoral Act, because we have the timetable already, but there are some proposed amendments that will affect the timetable.
Members of the civil society groups also expressed their worries over the delay in the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and call on the National Assembly to expedite action on the legislation.
Already there is a delay. Already we are concerned on how that will affect the plan of from INEC. And we all should not relent in the call for the National Assembly to expedite action.
Can we have a seat, please?
The INEC chairman also met with representatives of media organizations to solicit their support ahead of the 2027 general election. Meanwhile, outside the commission, protesters again occupy the entrance into the premises over an alleged anomaly in the Warri Federal Constituency ward delineation.
We come here to tell INEC that the process they've started, we support them, it's very good, but they should come out with the results now. As I'm speaking to you now, February 18, there will be a primary in APC Congress to elect ward executive and order. Which word are they using?
On behalf of the Commission, let me assure you that this is on the top of the agenda of the Commission, this issue. In fact, the chairman is already talking with the Office of the National Security Advisor to ensure that these matters are solved immediately.
Concerns have been raised on the preparations for the 2027 elections. However, the electoral umpire says it is working round the clock to address the challenges while pledging to make the election seamless.
In health news, cancer remains a major threat to global health, taking millions of lives every year and even stretching healthcare systems across the world. And even with advances in medical science, it continues to rank among the leading causes of death, especially in developing countries where low awareness and late diagnosis worsen survival chances. As the world marks the 2026 World Cancer Day with the theme United by Unique in Nigeria, the challenge is particularly severe. Health authorities and experts now warn that the country's high cancer mortality rate is largely linked to late presentation and poor access to screening services.
Cancer is not a single disease, but a group of illnesses that can affect almost any part of the body. It remains one of the world's leading causes of death. The World Health Organization says cancer claimed nearly 10 million lives in 2020 alone. Globally, the most commonly diagnosed cancers include breast cancer, lung cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer, non-melanoma skin cancer, and stomach cancer. In Nigeria, the situation is even more concerning. The National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment reports a 51% cancer mortality rate, underscoring the urgent need for awareness, prevention, and early detection. It's against this backdrop that the Lagos State Ministry of Health is marking the 2026 World Cancer Day, taking cancer awareness directly to the public.
We're encouraging everyone out there to please come, civil servants, male and female, to please come to Folari Koka Staff Clinic and have their breast cancer screening done, cervical cancer screening done, and prostate cancer screening done. This is very, very important. Prevention is indeed better than cure. Don't be scared. We're here to hold your hands and walk through with the process through you as is required.
As part of the awareness campaign, the team, led by the State Special Advisor on Health and senior government officials, move around the Lagos State Secretariat in Alausa Ikeja, educating workers on breast, prostate, and cervical cancers.
Cancer is one of the things that, stops and cuts life short, and it's something that has to be prevented, and that's what today is about. Yes, they talk a lot about the women, but yes, the men too are also important. In fact, the incidence of cancer of the prostate is getting lower nowadays. Before, it used to be maybe around 68 years, but now we are seeing men in their 50s having cancer of the prostate.
Health officials warn that breast cancer is increasingly affecting adolescents and young women between the ages of 15 and 39, largely linked to lifestyle factors. While the exact cause of cancer remains unknown, experts stress that prevention and early screening saves lives.
We have cultural issues where people are in denial. So a lot of people don't, it's not a matter of knowledge. We're seeing more of people with advanced cancer. So by the time they end up coming to LASU, to the cancer center there, or any of the private hospitals, we have Marcel Roof, we have Lakeshore, they're usually at an advanced stage. And you just wonder why they did not pick it up earlier, which is the whole essence of what we're doing right now.
Now you're hearing of 20-something-year-old people dying of breast cancer, of cervical cancer. That never used to be the case in the past. But now we're seeing more and more cases of cancer in younger people, and you should not be so. We say screen
screen, screen, and screen. Check your numbers. Check your BP, check your blood sugar, go for cancer screening. As a woman, check your breast.
Civil servants in Lagos State are encouraged to go for the free cancer screening at the staff clinic of the Lagos Secretariat. The World Health Organization notes that 4 out of every 10 cancer cases worldwide are preventable. Medical experts urge residents to adopt healthy lifestyles, carry out regular self-examinations, and seek medical attention promptly whenever unusual changes are noticed.
And more news on cancer treatment, and this time the federal government is strengthening its healthcare system with a new partnership to help expand cancer care, cardiology, and diagnostic services. The partnership involves the International Finance Corporation, the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and the private sector. Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, says the partnership will strengthen the nation's healthcare system and improve access to quality care, making it more affordable.
Government officials and members of development finance institutions are converging to discuss the latest federal government collaboration in cancer and cardiology care. The meeting is building on the success of previous interventions to improve access for cancer patients.
Medical tourism by half has gone down, but also others are really coming for medical tourism in Nigeria. Despite all what you may hear on the quality side, things are actually getting better. And of course, the clinical governance and patient safety is a core priority we're driving.
Everything that needs to be said about the importance of the health sector as an economic engine. And then you put alongside it the various derivatives that can help grow the GDP. And you have an important driver of the new economy in Nigeria.
Under this partnership, the International Finance Corporation and the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority are partnering with the private sector to create 1,700 jobs and train 500 specialized medical professionals to address the growing burden of non-communicable diseases.
I'm very proud to say that what started off as one oncology center in Lagos and 2 diagnostic centers in Kano and Umuahia, by the end of the second quarter of this year, will become 4 oncology centers and 15 diagnostic centers across the country. And that would be impossible without the strong partnership of the World Bank and the IFC.
Bringing quality healthcare closer to people, earlier, more affordably, and more equitably. It reflects our shared belief that access to care should not depend on where you live or how much you earn.
The partners put pen to paper to seal the 2 memorandums of understanding. The first is to improve cancer care, and the second is to deliver transformational health infrastructure across the country. The partners are hoping that the agreements will make health care more equitable, as the International Finance Corporation plans to invest $24 million under the partnership. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, bandits kill at least 40 persons at Woro community in Kayama local government area of Kwara State. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Senate passes Electoral Act Amendment Bill rejecting electronic transmission of election results. INEC finalizes election timetable, signals of nationwide voter revalidation ahead of 2027 polls. Vice President Kashim Shettima says the Southeast is a central pillar of Nigeria's economic future as he unveils a 25-year economic development blueprint for the region. And U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is to withdraw 700 immigration agents from Minnesota following the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens and subsequent protests. To the National Assembly now, where the Senate has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill after an over 5-hour clause-by-clause deliberation during plenary. Among the 155 clauses, the Red Chamber amended some provisions, including reducing the timeline for INEC to publish a notice of election from 360 days to 180 days. The Senate also did not adopt the recommendation to transfer results electronically in real time, retaining rather the existing provision of the Electoral Act, which enables the presiding officer to transfer the results, including the total number of accredited voters and the results of the ballot in a manner as prescribed by the Commission.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act number 13 of 2022 and to enact the Electoral Bill 2026 to regulate the conduct of federal and state elections and also area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters 2026 third reading taken and passed. The conference committee, because definitely I'm sure some of the provisions that we have elicited today will be different from what our colleagues passed and adjourned last week in the House of Representatives. This Senate, under my watch, has not rejected electronic transmission of results. It's in my interest as a participant in the next election for such to be done. So please don't go with the crowd. Don't go with the crowd. We have retained what was in the previous provision. That's all we did. So if we rejected what was proposed by way of amendment and said let's retain what was in the previous provision, the previous provision had made allowance, had made provision for electronic transmission. So it is still there as part of our laws. And I think we should be moving forward, not moving backwards. There is no way we can, in this era of electronics, will now be going backwards.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has launched a 25-year development blueprint for Nigeria's southeast, saying the region is a central pillar of the country's economic future. Speaking of the Southeast Vision 2050 Stakeholders Forum in Enugu State, Vice President Shettima says President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of the Southeast Investment Company Limited, designed to mobilize resources from the diaspora, capital markets, and development finance institutions for the region's development. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State, joined by his counterparts from Anambra and Abia states, are among the dignitaries who received Vice President Kashim Shettima on arrival at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu. From the airport, the Vice President's train moves to the International Conference Center, Enugu, where guests have converged for the Southeast Vision 2050 Stakeholder Forum. The event, organized by the Southeast Development Commission in collaboration with the Office of the Vice President, the Ministry of Regional Development, and the Southeast state governments, seeks to chart a shared path to sustainable prosperity for the region. For governors of the region, the forum underpins their resolve to foster collective development of the region by harnessing their resources.
It is fulfilling to observe that this project has secured the buy-in of major players in the public and private sectors in the zone. I'm also impressed that community and religious leaders, centers of learning and development partners are getting involved in the development conversations that efforts like this have engendered.
I will urge you, as you write the plans,
to focus at least 70% on what the Southeast Development Commission can deliver.
This address argues that Southeast can achieve food security, employment generation, and export competitiveness by raising productivity, deepening value chains, investing in shared infrastructure and energy, building skill and innovation systems, and mobilizing patient capital through public and private partnerships.
Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State, who is the host governor, proposes the birth of a Southeast Common Market.
The creation and strengthening of Regional Development Commission is a strategic signal that development must be territorially inclusive and economically rational.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who unveils a 25-year strategic plan for the development of the Southeast region, assures that President Bola Tinubu is determined to ensure even development across the country, leaving no region behind.
The Southeast matters deeply to this administration. Not as an afterthought, not as a concession, but as a central pillar of Nigeria's economic future. What we are doing here today is not an exercise in rediscovering potential. That potential is already evident. What matters now is how we organize it, how we structure it, and how we align it with long-term national development goals through coordinated action.
The Vice President leaves the people with an assurance that the execution of the development plan will transform their standard of living. From Enugu, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
All right, and now set to the nation's capital, and Terry Ikumi is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Terry, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. Well, now to some worrying news coming from Kwara State, where at least 75 people have been killed by terrorists in Woro and Nuku communities in Kaima local government area. Several houses were also reportedly burnt by the hoodlums. According to a local source, the terrorists arrived to preach to residents in both communities. However, dissenting voices among the crowd reportedly prompted the attackers to open fire on the congregation. The eyewitness also stated that soldiers and forest guards have been deployed to the two communities to ensure safety of the residents. Meanwhile, the Kwara State government has condemned the attack and commiserated with the families of the victims. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has approved the deployment of a battalion of soldiers known as Operation Savannah Shield to flush out the bandits in Kaima, Kwara State, and the National Park in Niger State. The Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak announced this tonight at the palace of the Emir of Kaima, Alhaji Muazu Omar. The governor, who was accompanied by security chiefs, described the attack as a genocide, assuring that the bandits within the two states will be flushed out within a month. Earlier, the Emir of Kaima, who was nearly moved to tears, said 75 villages in Woro were massacred due to their refusal to be brainwashed and indoctrinated by the bandits who were preaching un-Islamic teachings to them. A human rights campaigner, Reverend Ezekiel Dachamoy, is tasking the Benue State government to reconstruct houses destroyed during the June 2025 massacre in Yelwata community. He made the call during the visit of a United States mission to the community in Guma local government area of Benue State. The mission, led by American aid worker Mr. Alex Barbie, called for transparency in the application and disbursement of relief materials for the resettlement of the IDPs in Benue State.
8 months after the attack on Yelwata, on the 13th of June 2025, the community remains in ruins. Although the community is still deserted for fear of further attacks, those who defy the odds and returned home are getting support from a United States missionary, Mr. Alex Barbie, who has so far rebuilt 38 houses.
Completed. It's a big home for a lot of
So here we have a massive house that we finished.
The difficulty of bureaucracy, alleged bogus spending, and the need for the state government to do more to protect the people is highlighted.
And I was directed that I'm not allowed to build the market. They said that the government has plans to build the market. And they said, we'll send you the plan tomorrow, maybe 2 days. And I waited over 2 weeks, no response. And I'm pressuring, I'm asking, so what is happening? When are we going to build the market? You said you'd send me the plan, I have no plan. And they sent me a video of a 300 million plan for a market in Yawara. While they told me I can't build, I would spend maybe 50 or 60 million to rebuild everything.
If you have any 300 billion project that the ministry write to him or whatever, he should come. Because I personally, one of the UN rules is that you don't return people the same way they are being displaced. And that was the reason why we rejected the plan of thatch houses for the returnees. And the same thing, the market we want to build, we have a design. That's what government is leading.
The missionary also tasked government to ensure the investment does not go to waste. While the state government disagrees with him on the allegations of bogus spending, the government states that it is utilizing over 1.2 billion naira donation to rebuild settlement homes for the internally displaced persons.
If something happens in Yawara after this rebuilding, the government is liable. The blood is on your hands. We've come in good faith, with good heart, to help the people, to rebuild where nobody is helping. But you are responsible to secure your own people. And there's security here now, but we can't see that they leave in 1 month or 2 months.
People have come back to their camp again, to their homes. Even before they finish it, some people are waiting to enter. The question is, please, there are many houses that are yet to be touched. Can Benue government do something about it?
1,275 million that we receive from these donors. It is the money that will be utilized at the water because it's the center of attractions and with resettlement model.
As the state government continues working to ensure the return of peace to the area, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Sam Ode, last week flagged off a 62-unit Yawata resettlement home consisting of 2 bedrooms each with conveniences and a kitchen.
And still to come on the news at 10, Smith & Partners with MTN Nigeria's mobile payment service bank to enhance financial access for small businesses. That's on business news. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10. Now in Kaduna State, Governor Diezani has confirmed the return of 82 kidnapped worshippers of the January 18, 2026 attack in Kuruminwali village in Kajuru local government area. The governor made the confirmation when he visited the victims at the Women and Children Shelter in Kaduna State capital, where they are receiving medical care and psychosocial therapy. Governor Sani extended his sympathy to the victims over the kidnapping incident, assuring the people of Kuruminwali community that the remaining abducted victims still in the custody of bandits will be freed within a few days. He also reaffirmed his administration's commitment to ending banditry and kidnapping across the state.
We're here with the 82 that have now returned back home safely. And of course, we're here to give them assurance that the remaining, by the grace of God, they'll all be back safely by the grace of God. And I have no doubt in my mind that the rest will also be back. And of course, as you are aware, they're all here undergoing psychosocial therapy, and we are trying to ensure that our medical doctors check them very well. And of course, we know that they've gone through a lot of trauma. And of course, it is a very difficult situation. And as a government, it's our responsibility to ensure that all of them are certified medically fit. And of course, some of them have had some very minor injuries, as you can see. But I'm happy that they are all recovering, and they have made them in a high spirit. Because since they arrived here, the government have been looking after them to ensure that all of them return back home very well without any issue of any medical issues.
Still in Kaduna State, Governor Obasani has assured the people of southern Kaduna of equal opportunities and inclusive governance in his administration. The governor gave the assurance while commissioning the 23-kilometer asphaltic Madakia-Kafanchan Road, a major infrastructure which links Zango-Kataf and Jamal local government areas, aimed at boosting socio-economic activities in the zone.
The construction of the 23-kilometer Madakia-Kafanchan Road is a promise made and fulfilled by the administration of Governor Obasani, who saw the need to provide access roads for the people of Jama and Zango-Kataf local government areas of the state.
This very corridor, this axis, is a marshy area with a difficult terrain when it comes to road construction. However, the road was built to an approved specification with thorough subgrade preparation, well-compacted base layers, and a durable asphalt wearing course, suited for our climate and traffic demands.
The governor and his deputy are physically present for the commissioning of the road, which will connect over 25 farming communities across Jama and Zango-Kataf local governments. Just as the senator representing Kaduna South, Sunday Marshall, leads other stakeholders to appreciate Governor Obasani for the long-awaited project.
The project initiated and completed under the administration of Your Excellency is a clear testament to your inclusive, people-centered and visionary leadership.
On behalf of the Kaju Chiefdom, I want to thank you, Your Excellency. We pray for you, we stand with you, and we look forward with hope. God bless you. God bless Kaduna State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Your Excellency has continuously demonstrated that the dividends of democracy are best felt when development is taken directly to the people. This is exactly what you are doing, and the people really appreciate you.
When it's his time to speak, Governor Sani underscores the importance of the road for the socio-economic well-being of the people of Jama and Zango-Kataf axis.
The road also provides an effective alternative route to the Zanguan, Zankwa, Samburu, Kagoro axis. It reduces travel time between Kafanchan and Zankwa by nearly half, easing movement for farmers, traders, students, patients, and other road users.
The Madakia-Kafanchan Road is part of the Kaduna State government's broader plan to expand road infrastructure and promote balanced development across the state for the purpose of enhancing transportation, improve access to markets, hospitals, and stimulate economic growth for farmers.
The people of Zango-Kataf, Jama local government.
FCT, the minister says his active participation in politics will not stop him from carrying out his duties as minister of the nation's capital. Mr. Wike stated this while fielding questions from journalists after inspecting some ongoing projects in Abuja. Our correspondent Kumbia Boluade reports.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, continued his routine inspection of ongoing projects in the nation's capital by visiting a road construction project in Edo District, the industrial hub of the nation's capital. He also inspected projects in Tunga Madaki along the airport road. The road is expected to link the airport to Zuba community, a border town, to Niger State.
It's quite encouraging that, of course, we're opening up other areas. You can imagine getting to this, what the body has suffered. It's unimaginable. Politics have its own time, and the work will continue to go, and politics is not going to affect it. If you say so, the area council election is coming up in those few weeks. I will not do our work. It doesn't affect us.
Back in his office, the minister receives the management staff of the Federal Capital Development Authority. The courtesy visit is part of the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the proclamation of the Federal Capital Territory as the nation's capital.
Over the years, major infrastructure deficits in the development of the city has largely due to limited availability of funds.
In response, the FCT minister reels out achievements in the FCT under President Bola Tinubu's administration and gives reasons for the stalled 50th anniversary celebration.
Today we're achieving what we're achieving. Now nobody has asked a question every time we say, oh, for years, no infrastructure. Why would there be infrastructure when there's a kind of something declaring you? Today, everybody is saying there's massive infrastructure development. So we must appreciate somebody who had laid a foundation for us to get to where we were. We must appreciate and thank, and that's why I want to say there's not going to be a committee that will plan to commemorate 50 years of his without Mr. President 30 years in office.
He further calls for more support from workers to actualize more development in the territory. From Abuja, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
Well, that's a wrap from the nation's capital. Back to Ayotunde in Lagos.
Many thanks, Terry. The Taraba State Governor, Agbu Kefas, says his administration inherited a weak civil service with a faulty foundation. According to Governor Kefas, he has taken a systemic, deliberate and necessary proactive step to restore confidence and deliver results that will better the welfare and service delivery of civil servants and engender development in the rural communities. The governor was speaking at the launch of a 5-day training for Taraba permanent secretaries, directors and newly elected council chairmen held in Jalingo, the state capital.
Please, all the permanent secretaries and the directors.
This 5-day training workshop is put together by the Taraba State Government for permanent secretaries and directors of the state's ministries, departments and agencies to ensure professionalism in the state civil service. It is also the launch of orientation course for newly elected local government council chairmen and other senior council officials aimed at acquainting participants with contemporary global bureaucratic trends to create a better and more effective work culture in the state, leveraging technology.
What we are about to witness is the opening ceremony of a 5-day training workshop for permanent secretaries and directors in the state civil service, as well as orientation course for newly elected local government chairmen, vice chairmen, and other senior officials of the council.
To understand the core concept of strategic leadership and strategic thinking by Taraba State public servants. Secondly, to enhance management and administrative skills for team effectiveness and organizational growth in Taraba State public service.
In his presentation tagged an overview of strategic leadership management in the public sector, Nigeria and Taraba states in focus, the director training in the office of Taraba Head of Service insists that the paradigm shift from analog to digital is necessary in enhancing public sector performances and deepening understanding of strategic management.
Strategic management, once central to the private sector's success, has become increasingly vital in the public sector, as government seeks improved performance, accountability, and responsiveness.
On his part, Governor Agbu Kefas insists that his administration inherited a weak civil service with faulty foundation, but through reforms that are deliberate and systematic, he believes confidence will be restored, just as he reels out his plans for other sectors of the state.
We implemented the 30,000 naira federal minimum wage and later the 70,000 minimum wage, even under severe fiscal pressure. We commenced payment of outstanding pensions and accrued benefits, not because it was easy, but because it was the right thing to do.
The capacity building workshop is a testament to the state government's desire to equip local government officials and state civil servants with necessary skills to stimulate effective public sector service delivery in Taraba State.
Okay, they'll go into their technical session, while we will leave.
In the UK, the corruption trial of former Nigerian Petroleum Minister Diezani Trial continued in London today, with juries hearing fresh testimony about millions of pounds allegedly spent on luxury property refurbishments. Proceedings at Southwark Crown Court shifted focus to a construction contractor linked to high-end London homes as prosecutors worked to trace what they describe as a wider financial trail of benefits flowing through intermediaries. Our London correspondent, Jolana Olainka, has the latest.
Today's hearing at Southwark Crown Court shifted focus to another prosecution witness, a refurbishment contractor whose company carried out work on a string of high-end London properties allegedly linked to former Nigerian Petroleum Minister Diezani Madueke. The court heard that millions of pounds moved through his business between 2012 and 2014 for luxury refurbishments, with the witness confirming he met Alison Madueke and businessman Kola Aluko several times during that period. Prosecutors say the evidence adds to what they describe as a wider pattern of luxury benefits flowing through intermediaries. The defense disputes that, maintaining Alison Madueke had limited authority and denies any wrongdoing. Proceedings were adjourned early today, with the trial continuing as prosecutors build their financial trail. Juliana Olayinka reporting for Channels Television News at Southwark Crown Court.
It's now time for business news with Will Ibon.
Thank you, Ayotunde. And the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, has partnered with MTN Momo Payment Service Bank to expand financial access for small and medium-sized businesses across the country. The collaboration will give SMEDEN registered SMEs access to Momo PSB's digital financial tools, enabling them to accept payments, manage bills, pay salaries, and operate multiple business outlets on a single platform. Both organizations say the partnership is aimed at strengthening financial inclusion and improving the ease of doing business for Nigeria's SME sector. And let's get a check-in on the domestic equities market, which sustained bullish momentum as the index jumped nearly 1.3%. Nijam Mekwa has the details.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, an overall market activity today, it was negative, but the sentiment was positive, and so over ₦1 trillion, about 1.3 trillion naira was added to the market. So you would notice that yesterday about this time we had the market cap at about 106 trillion naira. Today it's gone up to 107, and it also reflects right here. We hit 166,000 intraday, but it's gone up to 168,000 level at the close of trade. More than 1%, 1.28% is what we have on the old share. 52 gainers, 24 decliners. That gives us a positive market breadth. And today's move is mostly because of MTN Nigeria. MTN Nigeria today gained a whole 16 naira 9 kobo, almost 17 naira to close at 588 naira 50 kobo. A lot of activities going on around MTN, especially the skills and digital thing that they are doing with the youth. Perhaps that's why you have that positive sentiment. Fugaz also did very well today, looking at the sectors. They contributed to the green that we have at the close of trade. Fugaz led the banking counter up 2.33%. Consumer goods also green, and of course oil and gas, because of Aradel, mostly Aradel, Japol Gold, they contributed to this. So we're in a safer place today and a safer place for the bull.
Thank you, Ini. And in the U.S., stocks closed lower following losses in tech stocks and weak jobs data. Let's see the numbers and those of other major global equities.
And that's business news. Will Ibang is back to Ayo for more on the news at 10.
Many thanks, Will. Donald Trump's administration on Wednesday announced the removal of 700 immigration enforcement officers from Minnesota after weeks of operations and the fatal shooting of 2 protesters that sparked outrage across the United States. But Tom Homan, a senior Trump official, said that the contentious deployment in Minneapolis would be extended, noting that some 2,000 immigration officers would still be present after the drawdown. Here's Simon Puser with more on this and other international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says more than 200 repair crews are working to restore power in Kyiv following widespread deadly Russian attacks targeting the country's energy sector. More than 1,100 apartment buildings in the capital are still without power, Zelensky said, adding that he had spoken to officials about supporting communities in other affected parts of Ukraine. In the eastern Ukrainian town of Druzhkivka, 7 people were killed and 15 injured in Russian cluster bomb strikes. Moscow has recently renewed its attacks after a week-long pause that US President Donald Trump had asked Vladimir Putin to observe as a fierce cold spell swept Ukraine. Meanwhile, the US, Ukrainian and Russian officials are again meeting in Abu Dhabi to discuss details of a peace plan. Hospitals say at least 20 Palestinians, including several children and a paramedic, have been killed and almost 40 others wounded in Israeli strikes in Gaza. The Israeli military said tanks and aircraft carried out precise strikes against what it called terrorists, who had opened fire on troops in the north of the Strip, seriously wounding an officer. It added that the attack happened close to the Yellow Line, beyond which Israeli forces are stationed in Gaza, and that it constituted a blatant violation of the 3-month-old ceasefire deal with Hamas. Hamas accused Israel of using the shooting as a flimsy pretext to justify the continuation of killing and aggression against our people.
No girl should ever be put in the situation.
Billionaire philanthropist Melinda French Gates has said her ex-husband, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, being named in new files relating to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, has dredged up painful times in my marriage. She told an NPR podcast she felt unbelievable sadness and that whatever questions remain needed to be answered by those named in the records, including her ex-husband. The couple divorced in 2021. Records released by the US Justice Department include an allegation by Epstein that Bill Gates caught a sexually transmitted disease. Gates's spokesperson has called the claim absolutely absurd. Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer says Lord Peter Mandelson lied repeatedly about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and that he regrets appointing him as US ambassador in 2024. The Prime Minister also told Parliament he will release all material relating to the appointment, barring national security and international relations exemptions. But the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch accused Starmer of trying to sabotage the release, and questions are growing around the Prime Minister's judgment in appointing him in the first place.
The political decision to appoint Epstein's close associate, Peter Mandelson, as Britain's ambassador to Washington goes to the very heart of this Prime Minister's judgment. When he made that appointment, was he aware that Mandelson had continued his friendship even after Epstein's conviction for child prostitution?
Simple question. Mr. Speaker, let me start where I must with the victims of Epstein, and all of our thoughts are with them. Can I also say our thoughts are with all those who lost jobs, savings and livelihoods in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our Parliament, and my party. Mr. Speaker, he lied repeatedly to my team when asked about his relationship with Epstein before and during his tenure as ambassador. I regret appointing him.
And an unlikely Chinese new mascot has popped up in China this year, Draco Malfoy. Tom Felton is best known for his role in the Harry Potter series, but now the actor is also making an appearance in some Chinese houses, with e-commerce sites selling festive decor prominently featuring his face. The sudden popularity is thanks to the Chinese translation of his name Malfoy, Ma-er-fu. It contains the words for horse and fortune, ringing especially auspicious for the upcoming Year of the Horse. Harry Potter is hugely popular in China, with hundreds of millions of books sold. A re-release of the series' first film in 2020 grossed more than 90 million yuan in just 3 days. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. The National Institute for Sports has entered a partnership with the National Board of Technical Education to revamp its curriculum and build a 21st century program that will meet with global best practices. The G of the Institute, Philip Shaibu, says some of the reasons for the partnership is to find new areas regarding skills development, curriculum change, and coaching programs. Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman is proud and excited to be starting a new chapter at Atletico Madrid, a club he has described as massive with rich history and passion. The 2024 African Player of the Year says he's ready to give everything on the pitch. Lookman joined the Spanish side from Atalanta in a deal worth €40 million. Away from Spain, Arsenal defender Jurgen Timber believes lifting the English League Cup could inspire the Gunners to even more success this season. Mikel Arteta's men are 90 minutes away from ending their 6-year wait for a major trophy after seeing off Chelsea to secure a place in next month's final. In the meantime, Arsenal's opponents in the final at Wembley, Manchester City, were ruthless against Newcastle United just a moment ago. The semi-finals, Umaru Mamouche scored a brace while Diezani Trial made it 3 before halftime to open a 5-goal aggregate win. Then Anthony Lenga pulled one back for the visitors to make it 5-1. All road leads to Wembley now. March 22nd for the finals. Arsenal up against Manchester City. That's Sports News Tonight. I'm Kelly. Egigas back to Ayotunde.
And the main news again. The Senate has passed the Electoral Amendment Act bill rejecting electronic transmission of election results. INEC has finalized the 2027 election timetable, signaling a nationwide voter revalidation ahead of the 2027 polls. Vice President Kashim Shettima today said the Southeast is a central pillar of Nigeria's economic future as he unveiled a 25-year economic development blueprint for the region. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun, and do have a good night.